Viago, Deacon, and Vladislav are three roomies who happen to be vampires. When their 8,000-year-old roommate Peter turns hipster Nick, they must initiate the lad into their lifestyle as a documentary crew follows them about to capture what we do in the shadows.
Smell werewolves.
We're just about to walk past a werewolf, so some shit might go down.
Look out, guys. Don't catch fleas.
What's that, mate?
Sorry, what?
Keep going, keep walking,
What?
keep
We heard that,
walking.
mate. We've got sensitive hearing.
Have you?
Yeah. What are you filming? It's a music video, is it?
We don't want any trouble.
Well,
I do.
Why did you start it?
Have I got your heckles up, huh? Why don't you go smell your own crotches, huh?
Come on.
What are you talking about? We don't smell our own crotches, we smell each other's crotches, and it's a form of greeting.
You're on camera,
Yeah.
mate. Don't do
What?
It's okay, because I know this guy. It's Count Fagula.
Hey, don't swear.
Sorry, they
We're werewolves.
not
What are we?
werewolves, not
werewolves.
faggots.
No, it's...
It's a very offensive word to call people.
Well, unless you're talking about a bundle of sticks.
Chase this bundle of sticks. Werewolves?
Don't get it.
It's not real.
Nathan, it's not real.
From Australia to New Zealand, you might have recognized a couple of cast members from Flight of the Conchords there. This is from Concorde himself, Jermaine Clement, and a New Zealand filmmaker Taki Waikiki, who did a good movie a few years back called Boy, and Waikiki plays Viago, and I happen to think he was my favorite in this. He's got this wide-eyed innocence. He's a dandy vampire from the 18th century. And he's got this wide-eyed innocence while he's slaughtering people after he completely mutilates a woman. He informs us that he thinks she had a good time. But what really makes this so funny is that they found all these just roommate situations, like someone not doing the dishes and another one bringing around a friend that they don't want to hang around and things of this nature, and then they put it through the perspective of vampires, and it is hilarious.
Yes, it is. It is an honestly, from beginning to end, funny movie. I really had a good time with this one.
Plus, they did a good job of they had the three vampires for, like Vladislav was from the medieval ages, Viago was a dandy, and then Deacon was the youthful one at 187, but Peter, who looks like Nosferatu and scares even them, the 8,000-year-old one in the basement, is great. And they have a montage that explains each one's history, and they do it with photographs and illustrations and whatnot, and how they all ended up in New Zealand. And there are still pictures in that montage that are worthy of their own prequel. I thoroughly enjoyed this. It opens the 20th on the Kendall, and I gave it a B+.
Absolutely. I 100% be
Oh, it was also the Audience Award winner at the Toronto Film Festival last year.
Funny movie. Ricky is a 13-year-old autistic and having the worst day at school. Instead of walking home with his sister, he ventures off on his own into the New York subway system. His mom, Mariana, becomes frantic when he does not come home and searches desperately for her child in Stand Clear of the Closing Doors.
I ain't stupid. If anything, she's the one that's dumb. She's the one that's stupid.
He's 13 now. He can walk home by himself.
No, Carla no puede.
Oh, hey, Ricky's mom, right?
You see him?
No, not today. I saw him a couple of days ago.
911, what's your emergency?
Just my son is missing.
Where are you located?
Rockaway Beach.
Anda sin sus medicinas. Se pone mucho peor cuando no las toma.
People are worshiping the devil tonight. That's what Halloween is about.
This is part of the Real Abilities Film Festival, and this was a surprising little gem of a movie. I was really impressed by the structure of the film, how it deals with family and familial love, and you really feel the mom's anguish when her son doesn't come home because she knows he's autistic and he needs his medications, and the worry that she goes through while the boy is just blithely going on the subway system from one stop to another, and he's just fascinated by the whole thing. It's a really nicely structured little film because you've got this idyllic part on
When Jake's Google Glass-like mind's eye project crashes and burns along with all its seed capital, he becomes one of the most unpopular guys in New York City. Licking his wounds, Jake returns to his hometown, hoping to veg at his sister Justine's house. But the harried working mother of a 3-year-old insists Jake sing for his supper, and so he takes on the role of Manny for his nephew Teddy in Adult Beginners.
My money, my girlfriend dumped me, so I'm helping my sister out a little bit.
What does she look like now?
My sister, my pregnant sister.
Still hot?
So, you trust me with your kid?
Absolutely.
Let's go crazy! Good afternoon, ladies. What, you never seen a kid in a suitcase before?
So hot.
Wow.
He's a genius.
You've never met a 3-year-old. This is normal.
Adult Beginners.
Who's a stud, Teddy?
Should have mentioned 24 Days is opening at the West Newton. This movie is opening exclusively at the Coolidge. And this is from a story by producer and star Kroll. And unfortunately, it's coming to the screen right after last year's Skeleton Twins.
Much better Skeleton
Twins. Which it resembles. You can go down a checklist
I know.
between these two films and their similarities, except this one doesn't have anywhere near as many laughs. In fact, it barely has it barely has a few chuckles. And the title, which is taken from the Aquababy swimming class that he ends up taking his nephew to, that has no basis in reality and features a really annoying performance by 30 Rock's
Yes,
Jane
I agree
Krakowski,
with you 100%.
who shows off her pipes more than her breaststroke. There's nothing really bad about it. It's just completely
It's just not good.
unnecessary. I gave it a C.
I gave it a C too. It was mediocrity. What can I say? Anyway, Mike Finkel was an up-and-coming reporter at the New York Times until a major story he wrote is found full of errors and fabrications costing him his career. Out of a job and at loose ends, he gets a phone call from a reporter for the Oregonian newspaper about an FBI most wanted fugitive now behind bars who had been using his name. Finkel sees a story that will get him his journo job back, and he travels across the country to see the man, Christian Longo. Mike wants to get to the truth about the accused murderer and tell his true story.
Hi, I'm a reporter with the Oregonian. I wanted to get your side on the Christian Longo story.
Who?
He murdered his entire family.
Why are you telling me this?
Because when they apprehended him, he said he was Mike Finkel of the New York Times.
Did he say anything at all about why he claimed to be me?
I'd hoped you'd be able to tell me that.
He was just a regular guy, an intelligent, sane man. He comes home one night and kills his wife and gets it. It makes no sense.
Thank you for seeing me, Mr. Longo.
Call me Chris.
So why me?
I followed your whole career. I guess I felt like I knew you. I want to tell you my side of this. Only you. Maybe at this point it doesn't matter.
The truth always matters.
It always seems to matter to you.
Main problem I have with this film is that I felt absolutely no sympathy for either of those characters. It's kind of telling when the role played by Felicity Jones as Finkel's wife carries more impact in a very short amount of time and develops a great amount of empathy from the viewer, much better than her lead actors. And I found that I didn't really care. The motivations of why they were going through this, it's like a cat has a feeling of a cat and mouse game, but the motivations, for example, Christian, the character Chris, he supposedly heinously murdered his children and his wife, so he can't gain anything from any book deals or anything, which is what is implied in this, that's what's going to happen. So I just never really got to the center of the film as to why I should care about these two guys. In the end, I didn't care about them, which is the problem. I gave it a C. I gave it a C+, only because it told a story that I didn't know about, but not very well.
And I didn't see it, unfortunately. Oh well. On the anniversary of her friend Laura Barnes' suicide, Blair is watching the YouTube video that captured it via a website article that links to another video, the shaming prank that instigated it.
sometime after the Civil War. A stagecoach hurtles across the snowy mountain landscape of Wyoming with a blizzard hard on its heels. A lone man, Major Marquis Warren, hails the coach for a ride. The inhabitants, John the Hangman Ruth and his prisoner Daisy Domergue, reluctantly bring the Major on board. They pick up another lone straggler, Sheriff Chris Mannix, but are forced to hold up at Minnie's haberdashery, where others also weather out the storm, but nothing and no one is as it seems in The Hateful Eight.
One of them fellas is not what he says he is. What is he? In cahoots with this one, that's what he is. One of them, maybe even two of them, is here to see Domergue goes free.
Are you sure you ain't just being paranoid?
Our best bet is this duplicitous fella ain't as cool a customer as Daisy here. He won't have the leather patience it takes to just sit here. He can't handle it. He'll stop waiting. Try and create his opportunity, and that's when Mr. Jumpy reveals himself.
And what you got to say about all this?
What I got to say about John Rhys Ravens? He's absolutely right. Me and one of them fellows is in cahoots. We're just waiting for everybody to go to sleep. That's what we're gonna kill you.
The opening credit for this states very proudly, the 8th film by Quentin Tarantino, and he's got something to be proud about here. This is an event film. It's being issued in about 100 theaters across the country that actually had specialized 70mm projection equipment installed just for showing this film. It's a roadside run for it. What most people will see is the digital version of the
not roadside.
Yeah.
That would be a drive-in, Robin.
Oh, okay. This is the kind of movie that would be perfect at a drive-in.
But the 70mm road show in the Boston area is at the Somerville Theater, the Coolidge Corner Theater, and the AMC Boston Common. I would advise Somerville or Brookline.
This is, I don't want to talk about the plot of this story. It is the kind of film that you want to have unfold for you and have all the surprises that it has in store for you, and there are a lot of them in this film. Beautiful ensemble cast. Every character is a character and a half in this. The stories are all very, very complexly intermingled as everybody's vying for alliances and all between each other, because as the title tells you, these are not very nice people.
Well, that's not entirely true.
Almost.
Yeah, you've got Samuel Jackson as the former Union soldier, Major Marquis Warren, and I called this halfway through it an Agatha Christie Western, and he's the sleuth. Yeah. He's always looking at things, and he's always asking questions, and nobody trusts anybody in this movie.
At all.
And it's in 7 chapters, and right from the very beginning, trust is an issue, but you've also got conflicts between race, between North and South, between upholders of the law and
the denizens of the underworld,
and criminals, and there's just all these conflicts.
And everybody's jockeying for position in this.
And
it's beautiful.
I must say, Kurt Russell and Jennifer Jason Leigh as Daisy Domergue are handcuffed together throughout most of the film, and they are wonderful to watch. Their choreography together and the slapstick violence between the two is just very, very special.
No, it is.
I really enjoyed this. It will be opening on the 8th in regular theaters without the overture and the intermission, and with 6 minutes cut, although I
don't know what they would have
wouldn't
cut.
know what they were.
Exactly.
And I gave it an A-.
Me too.